Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the International Citizen Student Show. Hey, Kenneth, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing? Sorry.
Good, good. It is so nice to finally see the sun come out and hit me on my.
Yeah,
Good morning. How about you?
yeah, it's nice. I've been having a good day, just waiting for the show to start. I'm excited to be back on the show and welcome all our guests and welcome our viewers to this show today. It's going to be interesting and it's good to have you.
Pleasure as well, Kenneth. So, let me quickly go over what we'll be looking at today. So, today's episode it's all about research, knowledge, and trying to understand what are the different pathways into research and what are the avenues that are available for students pursuing research. So, before we go into all of that, Kenneth, do you want to just talk about what has been happening at the university recently and just go over some of the exciting stuff that's happening? Because something's always happening, isn't it?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Like, so far, the University of Chester has been very interesting, and one of the events we are expecting in June is actually the 2 year program. The University of Chester has a level 7 2 years program that allows level 7 students at the master's level to do an 8 months professional project or professional project. So the October cohort will be doing a showcase event come on Monday, 15th of June. It's an opportunity for them to showcase what they've been doing for the past 7.5 months now or thereabout, to actually show their learning, to show what they've achieved and the progress they've made so far on the project. For international students watching this show, the 2 year route is a very fantastic opportunity to gain real life experience as you navigate the UK work system and the labor market as a whole. And come next on July, there's actually an event coming up. It's called Catalyst of Progress. It would involve speed networking. Shuari, I don't know if you would help me put up the slide. I've got a picture of it on.
Yes. Let me just put.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yes.
this is the fantastic show coming up, and would be excited to have our students, current students in the uni attend this event, and everybody, the community, Chester community can actually join. It's actually an opportunity to speed network. We'll have professionals from LinkedIn, we'll have professionals from Aaron and Partners, a law firm that will come talk to students and actually give students an opportunity to speak network, like just hear directly from employers, prospective employers, what the expectations are for students, and also network with professionals. And it's interesting, there will be a panel on that day that would take questions from students about employability, about student life, whatever your questions are. The panel is so interesting. It has everybody represented. It has the working class, it has students, it just has everybody that would actually be able to provide answers to your questions, irrespective of what angle they are coming from. And considering this show today, for a lot of students, research is just to finish the program. But this show would help you see how a research can actually lead to a career and how it solves real life problem as it connects industry and the university. From me, that's all. So, Ari, I'll hand over to you now.
Thank you, Kenneth. I think it's really important over the course of life as a student at university, especially at the postgraduate level, to understand that the university is not just about getting your degree, doing your assignments, and
Yeah,
coming out with your final results, but it's also about the opportunity to network, the opportunity to talk to people that you would not have otherwise gotten the opportunity to, and also look at your work and your research as an opportunity to help you propel your career forward in the future, whether that is your dissertation project that you look up to and publish in a journal, or use that as a pathway to becoming a researcher in the future. I think the opportunities are endless, and I think really looking forward to today's session and talking about the various ways in which research can have an impact on our respective careers. So, in that regard, let me first bring on Dr. Toyosi Oyinloye, who is the Deputy Head of School of Computer and Engineering Sciences at Toyosi. It was wonderful to have you here.
Yes, wonderful, wonderful. I'm sure you can hear me well.
Yeah, we can hear
Yes,
you.
we can. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show, and it's good to see both of you.
Good pleasure to see you too, Toyosi. So, Toyosi, before I take up any more time, I will just open the floor to you to talk about research and the value that it creates.
All right. Can someone help me to put my slides on? I've loaded it there.
It should be on now.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Just to introduce what I'm about to say this morning, it's all about research and how research creates value, particularly across the levels we have in the higher institution. And within the next couple of minutes, or should I say next 9 or 10 minutes, I'll be talking you through how research actually affects your output as a student and of course as a graduate. Um, yep. To say a bit about me, I've been introduced also. I'm the deputy head of school here at the University of Chester for the School of Computer and Engineering Sciences. And I've been in research for a while as well. I've done research, particularly in the area of cybersecurity. I've studied the control flow integrity as a means of enhancing vulnerability mitigations against vulnerabilities in applications that people, of course, apps and applications that people use on their devices. I've studied the control flow hijacks as well as just general means of attacks that attackers use in the cybersecurity scenarios. I also have ongoing research in the area of AI and how AI is applied to cybersecurity as well as teaching and learning in the higher education. And apart from that, I teach research methods. So a lot of research, I'm surrounded by research and research all the way. Yeah, so I do teach research methods. I teach software exploitation as an aspect of my area of expertise. I also teach programming using the Swift language and other programming languages. So let's talk about how research creates value. And I'll start by saying that research creates value only when it connects. So if we look at research in itself and research impact, when we talk about impact is the product of research. And it could come in various forms. So in the academic, we could say, oh, academic publications, this is a form of impact, or social and economic output. This could be a form of impact, as well as professional values, which we take to employers, the recruiters. That's what they are often looking for. And then the societal ethics, understanding exactly how things should go in a decent environment. So research impact could cut across all of these areas. And I'll try to be practical here because what we look for is change. And when change is effected as a result of research, it actually produces a difference. And that difference, when it's made, it affects the quality of life of people. So I would like to believe that anyone that goes into research, they do so with the aim of achieving some form of producing some solutions that could actually impact the real world. So the world we currently live in has numerous problems crying for solutions. And the citizens of the world are seeking for answers. So every bit of improvement to maybe an answered question, for example, is a progression towards a complete solution. So we're looking for a solution, but the more we're able to research, the more we're able to obtain answers, then we're able to get solutions. For example, when we were able to produce an automation, so we can produce a tool that reliably automates a system so that something that could be daunting, it's something that they now find easier to achieve as a result of research. So these are products of research. And in the context of academia, we can say that the university itself produces graduates that are products of the university and industry ready. So we have lots of impacts that are made as a result of research. Now, on the other side, we have the knowledge exchange. And knowledge exchange, it goes alongside research impact. And what it does here is that it defines the direction, that's the direction of the research input and the research output. Because for research to make impact at all, there's got to be a product coming out of it. So the pattern involves a continuous interaction. And if we look at it between the university and industry, so there's a continuous interaction because industry and the university, they are actually co-creators and they both have mutual benefits. So they gain because the research questions in the first place was fetched from the industry because they are able to identify the gaps, and that is passed to the university. And then in academia, we're able to look, we have the capability, I would say, we're able to look critically into the problem and suggest solutions and test the solution and be able to back up our solutions with evidence. So this interaction is actually operated in a two-way direction because we come up with a solution, we come up with suggestions, we come up with answers to research questions, and that is passed back into the industry. And this is what actually makes research impactful. It makes research fundable. It's actually produces things that are useful to the society and to the citizens of the world. It makes things move, it makes things work. All right, so if we look at the University of Chester as an institution, so how research and knowledge exchange works in Chester. So at the University of Chester, we have different levels, different aspects, different scenarios for our students to be able to participate in research and be able to actually own outputs. For example, we have research-informed teaching, and at the undergraduate and postgraduate level, we do have projects. So for the undergraduate, for example, our final year students, they take what we call innovation projects for some departments, and the postgraduates also take research projects at some point. Now, these are opportunities for the individual student to be able to participate in research, get to see how things could be, what could be, and how solutions can be provided within the academia. So we recognize, as an institution, we recognize the need to ensure that graduates are world ready, they are industry ready, they are capable, and they are independent thinkers. So we want them to be able to produce solutions from time to time, even when they are on their own. And how we do this, like I mentioned before, is through research-informed teaching. So all the modules that actually take our students to their final year or their final project are designed to train them to have the skills to be able to work out those skills and produce something that is useful to the society, useful to the industry as well. What this means is that our curriculum advances with new information. So we try to be up to date. We make sure that new developments are woven into they're embedded into our curriculum. And because of this, students are able to complete their studies and having the relevant skills that make them to be prepared and ready for the world. So at various learning stages, students are encouraged to apply critical thinking, and this is what they carry on to complete their research project. So as a result of the collective effort, the consistency, I would say, on the part of the lecturers, on the part of research supporters, the research supervisors, students are actually able to develop themselves into independent thinkers. And this is what we carry out as products. This is what we present to the world as products of the institution. So further up in the academic ladder, we could have the postgraduate research, and this could be across disciplines or across institutions. So these are opportunities for students to be able to carry out research and collaborate. We also have the knowledge transfer partnerships opportunities, and also we collaborate with industry. In fact, at different levels in recent times, we've been liaising with different organizations where students are able, from their first year, they're actually able to participate with industry and be able to have the real thing, the real world engagement. And this also gradually leads them into the independent thinker that we're trying to develop. So there are various levels of engagement. Apart from this, I've mentioned before that we have collaboration with the industry, as well as collaboration with other universities. And of course, collaboration with general public engagement. So these are aspects of the society that our students are able to carry out research, participate in research, and own outputs. And of course, that is how they make impact. So from research to employability, because it all boils down to what the student is able to achieve for themselves. I would like to think that we students go to learn new skills so that they can improve on themselves and be more employable, or maybe they find a more lucrative profession which they want to convert to. So if I can just add, we have lots of programs in Chester that are conversion programs that actually allow students who did not yet have knowledge or skills in a certain area of an area of studies, they're able to convert to it. So for example, I'll use the computer science conversion for the MSc as an example. So we actually take students who did not do computer science initially. We have the cybersecurity conversion as well. So students are able to convert from whatever skills they've learned before and able to catch up and be able to carry on at a professional level. So if we still look further into this, how research converts into employability, knowledge exchange is the bridge that connects research and employability. And I've mentioned earlier that it's actually a communication between industry and the university. And once our students have achieved their learning, once they've achieved the research, they have understanding of skills and all the things that accompany this, what the students will want to do is to ensure that they've achieved something that makes them career ready. And that's what we do here at Chester. We make our students career ready. We make them industry ready and employable. This is why we prioritize knowledge exchange. And what happens at the beginning is that they identify the research problems, the research questions, and these problems, because of the interactions we readily have with industry, they are realistic. So they are not just imagining problems, they are actually checking where the product is going to be used. For example, if they were trying to focus on a certain tool or application or new system, they want to look into industry to say what exactly entails, what is it and what is the problem? And then they take that back to the drawing table and begin to dig further to find out exactly how an improvement should be introduced. Now, what happens through the course of their studies is that the connection they built up from the beginning is sustained. It's sustained, it's grown, it progresses. And when this happens, by the time they get to the final year, or even for the postgraduate, by the time they complete their studies, they already have exposure to what entails in industry, and they've explored opportunities. Perhaps they've actually made connections and networked. Because I know you mentioned just before I joined that there's networking which happens in the course of research. It's huge. It's huge. It's something that it's really unavoidable, I would say. The moment you begin to collaborate, you will definitely meet other people. And the good thing is that in research, we are all asking questions. We share common goals. And that makes it easier for everyone to be able to participate and be able to contribute, to be able to also learn in the process. So our students are exposed to all of this through the course of their studies. And what happens is that by the time they complete their studies, they are comfortable. So the industry becomes their comfort zone. They're not just restricted to the academic four walls, but the industry becomes their comfort zone. They are comfortable to use, in fact, the tools that are up to date, for example. So you know that if we look at the IT, for example, a lot of technological advancement has taken place over the past 10 years. And students are able to catch up. Well, I won't even say catch up. They are moving along with it because of the opportunity they have to communicate, to connect with industry. So these are the things that we actually encourage our students to do, and we do support our students to do here at the University of Chester. So, like I said, the connection should be sustained, and when this happens, the result is that there's a valuable output at the end of the day. That is how the value we're looking for, the research value we're looking for, that's how it's created, and that is what attracts the employers. At Chester, our students have the opportunity, they explore, they they relate to industry, they make the mistakes and correct themselves as they go, and they're able to also contribute because, like I told you, they are independent thinkers. They are able to think critically and be able to analyze situations and produce answers to questions. So to wrap, before I wrap this up, there's this question. I've been privileged to talk to lots of potential employers, and the questions I continue to ask them, or should I say, much of what we talk about is what exactly they are looking for. Because sometimes people ask the question, "Oh, what are employers looking for?" And I would say that it's a big question. And if you look at the word cloud I created here, you find most of the things that people try to present when they get invited for an interview or when they get the opportunity to apply for a role. So, for example, they may say, "Oh, I'm aware of this, I have the knowledge, I collaborate, I'm a team player," and all of that. But if you look very closely, you find that the word attitude is highly pronounced in this word cloud. And this comes to show that employers, more than ever before, they're looking for the right attitude. They're looking for they want to recruit people with the right attitude. Because if we look at technology, for example, I keep on using technology as an example, but the truth is that with the AI we have, people tend to have answers at their fingertips. Okay, but when you have the answers at your fingertips, what do you do with it? How do you process it into a reliable solution? It all takes the right attitude. It actually takes the right thinking. So I'll just wrap this talk up with that by saying that for your research efforts, for your learning, even to convert into employability, after you have learned all the skills, after you have maybe perfected yourself in all those areas, you ought to have the right attitude. And I think that will very much attract your employer. So on that note, I will say thank you, and I can take questions.
Thank you so much, Toyosi, for sharing your thoughts. I think the most fundamental understanding was the importance of connecting research and employability. And the things that you do when you're actually pursuing research is just as important when you are looking at getting into a job, whether it is within the higher education sector or anything else as well. Some of the foundational elements are still the same. I think it was brilliant how you were able to encapsulate the fact that research is not just about publishing papers in various academic journals and presenting at conferences, but it's primarily about answering society's problems. And I think that is probably the most important thing to make note of for people to be aware of as well, because
Yeah,
whatever research they're pursuing is an answer to a question that is there currently. And if they're able to provide the perfect answer, who knows how beneficial that would be for in the future as well, for them and for the world as well.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I absolutely agree. To be honest, working on a professional project around KTP and CPD for some time, I understand how connected the University of Chester is with its local community in the area of knowledge exchange and research focus, most especially in the approach of preparing students to be world ready. That resonated with me a lot because during my program, considering the fact that it's a practice based, like it's an MBA program, like practice oriented, it has always been connected to real life scenarios, real life case studies. Like you are not just working theoretically, you work theoretically, but at the same time, you look for a way to link what you are studying in the books to what is applicable in the labor market. And I think one of the things I've actually seen about research is the fact that it helps you think critically
Yep.
and provide proof for any claim you are giving. Like that's for me a benefit I feel I've actually gained from working on the project, trying to do research, because you can think about how employers desire graduates to be able to think critically, solve problems in the real world, and be able to provide proof and basis for why they take the decisions they take and how it stands to benefit. I think all of these are what I've bedded out of research. Thank you very much. I don't know, we would be having another guest, and after that guest, Toyosi will be happy to have you back on the screen and actually give us your final word.
Okay, I actually have a meeting, but what I would say is, if there's a question that if anybody has questions, please feel free to. I'm not sure if I shared my email address somewhere, but I could put it in the chat
You
because
did
I
actually.
left the meeting to join to join this show. But it's really a privilege, and I do appreciate you having me on the show. And so while I may not promise to return today, but feel free to, please, if anybody has questions, they can just send me an email and I'll be happy to answer the question.
Thank you. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you so
Absolutely.
much for sharing
All
your
right.
thoughts.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Cheers.
And now we'll have on our second guest for the day, Dr. Vinod Malkar, who's a professor at Sanjivani University and the director of online education and president Rotary Club of Kopargaon. Thank you, Dr. Vinod, for taking the time, and pleasure to have you on.
Yeah, thank you, Srihari, and thank you, Kenneth, for this wonderful opportunity to present my knowledge on this very important topic. Let me share my presentation.
Are you able to add it, Dr. Vinod?
I am uploading that, I think.
Oh, no worries.
Okay.
Just as we're getting ready for that, I'd just like to take the time to thank you so much, Dr. Vinod, for coming on and talking about the importance of research and the impact that it can create and the pathways that it has. I know you've worked on so many brilliant projects over the years, and thank you so much for taking the time to share your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, this is a very important topic that today you had given: research impact, knowledge, exchange, and employability. And I am Dr. Vinod Malkar, spent around 21 years in the field of higher education. And I believe on, research should not remain in the lab. It should be tested in the business. And that's why it should be an important. So my today's next 15-minute talk will based on these 6 points: the problem, why research impact and knowledge exchange is matter today. I will go through the 5C net framework with this presentation, and we'll have a discussion on the small case study that we implemented at Sanjivani University, how research will come to the businesses and which enhance the employability, and what has an impact, and the students model that I'm going to share, and then conclusion. So this is the agenda. So what today's challenge is: academia generates the knowledge. Again, industry faces a real world challenges that are different way. Society needs solutions on so many problems if we visit a society, and students, have skills required to solve these all problems which is related to industry and society, and there is no connection in between these four buckets. And we, being as an academicians, or we university should develop such a ecosystem where academia, student, industry, and society comes together. The gap between and academia and industry limits the translations into an research and real worlds. So many times this research paper we read and will not implement to this. So research often stays in the journal rather than in practical impact. Skills mismatch with an employability, concerns about an students and the workplace, then limited real world experience and restricts with the students confidence, relatively creativity and career readiness. Moving ahead, this is the 5C framework: curiosity, creation, collaborations, commercialization, and career creation. If every students will focus on this 5C framework, then lots of problems that we can resolve very easily, and the employability and these ecosystems will get developed. Moving ahead, how each C we can go ahead. So every research starts with the questions why. So curiosity is the spark that starts every discovery. So we have to ask the questions to ourselves. So what exactly the problem is? Taken some real business example, Google has a question themselves: can we organize the world's information better? And so this is the curiosity they are having, and that's why answering this question, the Google becomes one of the major company in the world. Same thing, Apple has asked the question themselves: can a phone become a complete digital experience? So not only calling and receiving the calls or messaging the things, so changing the entire life. There is a great example of Uber. Can we click within a click a taxi comes at our home? So why too much of problems in the society of booking the taxi, and that problems comes. So the curiosity that is there. There have been so many years, so many algorithms and programs was in the computer only. But Netflix has asked the question: can entertainment be personalized for every individuals? And the answers is with, you know, two persons sitting in different rooms watching the same programs on Netflix can watch the different advertisements because of these algorithms. Same things with an Amazon, can buying a products becomes easier and faster. So they ask these questions, and now you see in a click you can order 24 by 7. So these kinds of curiosity amongst the businesses, using this research inside in the journals, they had created the product. So ask questions, explore the opportunity, think, and discover with the new things. Moving with, in marketing also, the Philip Kotler says CCDVTP, and C starts with the creation. So create something which is having a value, and if we can able to create something with the help of research which solves the problems of businesses, which solves the problem of society, then that can be converted into one products. So research turns curiosity into ideas. Ideas have the power to solve the problems and improve lives and build the futures. So when creation happens, the questions, ideas, experiment, prototypes, and innovations comes. Taking a very beautiful case. So 3M has wants to develop a gum which is have a highest kind of adhesiveness. But surprisingly, this when scientist has developed that products, that was one of the weakest adhesives, and that research was in the lab only. no research will be, outdated. So after few years later, same research has produced one product that is paid separators, flaps that we have generally used, and where the glue is very weak. So this is something very interesting research happened, and that research, which was that time was one of the failure products, has later on become a successful product when it has been converted. So outcome is very important. Same thing with an insulin discovery. Research on a pancreas that has been formed an outcome of this research. Then you can find the research which is based on these things also. Then you take an example of antibiotic penicillin, which is an Alexander's Fleming discovered mold killed bacteria, and it becomes the world's first antibiotic. Take an example of Kindle Amazon. Research on digital reading, user and behavior created a reader. It changed the way the world reads books. Then, when creation happens, questions lead to possibilities, ideas into and concepts, experiments test the possibilities, prototypes brings the ideas into, and innovations becomes. Taking an example of Tesla also, the electric vehicle, research in a battery technology, materials and AI-led high performance EVs, it drives the global shift to sustainable mobility. So the outcome is building and generating sustainable futures. So these kinds of um, you know examples is the great examples of an creation. Moving towards how these collaborations will help, that's the real role of an universities and um, the businesses. Taking an example of Google and Stanford, research on search algorithms begins us at a Stanford, and collaborations and funding supports help turn academic research into an world's leading search engine. So outcome, billions of users benefits from the faster, smarter access to the information. Similarly, Intel and Barclays Universities of California and Intel long-term research partnership on a semiconductor technology and chip design and joint labs research programs accelerates the breakthrough. So advanced chips manufacturing. Then the next example I would like to quote that AstraZeneca and in collaboration with Oxford University has saved millions of lives by offering the COVID vaccinations. Bosch with an IIT Bombay in India has a joint research on automotive technologies, AI and smart mobility. Students, faculty and engineers work together on real world solutions, and the outcome is safer, smarter and a more sustainable mobility solutions. Microsoft with an Carnegie Mellon University. So they had a partnership with AI, human computer, interactors, and cyber security. And the outcome you can find innovative products like an, co Cortinia and the teams that has been developed. So share the knowledge, combine the expertise, solve real business problems. So this is something that we have to understand with the help of the research culture. Moving ahead, once you can able to solve or create the problems, you know, uh, then you can convert this opportunity into and commercialize that business idea. And if you produce the, you had developed the products in the lab, you can go ahead with the commercializations of that products, and you can commercialize with the help of research which reaches to and market and can solve the problems of millions of lives. Pfizer has coming with an COVID vaccines, so impact billions of lives. Tesla, I already share an example, a very beautiful example of Spotify and music streaming. So, research in algorithms and data science was commercialized to personalized music experience for millions of end users. WhatsApp initially don't know how to commercialize. So research on mobile communication and data efficiency led to a simple, reliable messaging app used by billions in global. So impact connected the worlds instantly. Airbus A320 is an example. Research in an aerodynamics material and fuel efficiency was commercialized to build next generation fuel efficient aircraft. So research plus discovery, industry develops, commercializations will get and society benefits. I would like to tell here research ideas into products, create value, reach the market, and drive the growth. The commercialization journey is research, innovations, development, production, and market impacts. So this will help us to guide with this. And what kind of career orientations with the help of research that we should understand. So in case of career creation, research creates an opportunities to create the future. So if you take an example of research impact with Google, research in search algorithms created the job offers of software engineer, data scientist, AI ML engineer, product manager. Microsoft research on cloud computing, careers, cloud architect, cyber security analyst, AI engineers, and DevOps specialists. Research impact again on the Amazon. Research is recommended system logistics and automation. Build the world's largest e-commerce platform, which enhance the jobs, careers in data analysis, supply chain management, robotics, and user experience UX designers. So research impact with Pfizer's careers related to that clinical research associate, biotech scientist, regular affairs managers, and vaccine technologies. Tesla has created the careers in battery engineer, um, autonomous system engineer, energy systems analyst, and sustainability manager. And Netflix has created the job opportunity in data scientist, machine learning engineer, content strategist and analytics engineers. So this is a great opportunities the research can bring to the society. And I will, just have these 5C implementations. So curiosity, what to do. So identify, this is a note to all the students, and identify real world problems that interest you, ask questions and explore to unknown. So observe and discover the problems. Ask the question why, how, what it, and explore the existing research. Talk to the people and then create. What to do with the create? Brainstorms the ideas, do the literature review, develop concepts, prototypes, and test and refine your ideas. Collaborate. Find your team partners. Share and discuss ideas. Give and receive feedback. Discuss with your faculty teachers. Discuss with the researchers in that field. Have your own research community also. Co-create and improve the research. Once you patent that products, if you developed in the lab, validate your ideas, build a plan, and take them in the market. Do the market research, identify target customer, create a business value plan, build the value systems, explore the funding and partnership opportunity, and that build the careers. So build the skills required to run that industries with the help of universities. Create your portfolio, network and seek opportunities, keep learning and take initiation. So this is also something you have to 5UC model. Let me share a small caselets of my university. I am dealing with a course digital marketing. What I did, I had given real business issues to my students. I divided the students into 3 to 4 candidates in each group. I told the identify the local businesses which has no digital presence. Then with that, in the classroom, 1 hour in classroom and 6 hours on the field. The students has to identify businesses. The students has to research on that business, and they has to give the solutions to that business. There are around 10 activities that we had given to the students, which was the student should, you know, develop the websites for that business, create the e-content for that business in terms of images and videos as an advertising material. Then they should Google map that business on the Google listings. Then create a paid Facebook campaign, paid Instagram campaign. Create first of all the business Facebook page, Instagram Facebook page, and then run the programs and the complete digital transformation. So physical businesses to digital transformation. We identify that there are so many businesses locally which is have no Facebook account, no Instagram account, no websites, and our we had transformed these such a kinds of 50 businesses from the local area where the students should research on that business problem and come up with the solutions on that businesses. And this way the students has created a value with more than 10 lakhs in Indian rupees, and all these 50 businesses. And these 50 businesses has given us a very good, feedback about those businesses that, you can see. I can't run because I uploaded the presentation, but I think the way these businesses has given the feedback about with these activities and all. So you can find this feedback from the local businesses. This is a business of nursery which was selling a plant, and this has been channelized by our students. And now he says that his business has been growing more than 70% in the last 6 months. Similarly, this is an owner local business who manufacturing the saris, the cloths, handmade cloths, and that businesses also we bring at an online mode from scratch to complete Google business locations. Still, the programs targeting customer and all. Same way, he is was very happy with the way we bring these digital businesses. This is the dairy business, food processing businesses, where students has bring this also, and that's why their customer has been increased. So we transformed such a 50 businesses, we researched them, we segmented their target customer, we understand the consumer behavior on the field, and that created a lots of impact. So that's way the university, faculty, students can come together and change these ecosystems. So you can find our journey is research to digital, then strategies, then the finalize the careers. So research, digital audit, strategy planning, execution, campaign launch, monitoring, the optimizations, impact and growth. So what we delivered professional websites and brand identity, Facebook business pages, Instagram business profiles, YouTube channels and video content, Google Maps and business listings, high quality content which images, videos, reels, brand stories. We had created online stores also. There are websites where lovable and all that can create bazaar, online bazaar. So free online stores that we had created, and live ad campaigns with multiple platforms that we had given. Students has enjoyed a lot for testing their knowledge in terms of them. So the key takeaway to my dear students: start with the curiosity, create with the purpose, collaborate to multiply, commercialize to create a value, and create career that matters. So these are the five key takeaways you should take from my presentation. And I am very much thankful to organizer of University of Chester for giving me this wonderful opportunity, for your time and attention and valuable engagement for this my talk. The best classrooms have no walls. The best education creates an impact. So education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think, the heart to care, and the will to make a difference. Let's continue this journey of learning, collaborations, and impact. Together, we create a better future. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vinod, for sharing your thoughts. And that was incredibly insightful. And I'm pretty sure everybody who's watching it had so many takeaways. I think for me, the biggest question would be what made you come up with this idea in the first place? I know coming up with assignments and projects are difficult decisions that every educator has to make. What made you think of having this real world impact and taking up local businesses as an opportunity instead of looking at your Apple and your Google and your Starbucks or any international brand? What made you think of this as an opportunity? Because it has created incredible value, but what made you think of it to begin with?
Yeah, so what happened? There are few colleagues had joined from outside state of India to my university, and they were searching to the local businesses, and they want say some few services, and they always habit, zero moment of truth. So we'll Google it, but the businesses, and we are very easily telling them here is a shop, that businesses you should visit. So they are not able to find their Google map. There are no listing and nothing, but the businesses was very good. So I thought the businesses even don't know these are certain segments of customer that can come with the help of this digital. So I identified this problem, and let us research on this which businesses are not have a presence, but they are good businesses.
Thank you
So
so much.
that motivates me. And when our philosophy or the motive will be very good, so all these will become a helps, and all these students has taken this at very high priority. And we connected these assignments with marks also, grades also, and that's why those students who will do all these things, then we are able to do this.
I would want to
Yeah, go on, Kenneth.
thank you. I want to ask a question, Dr. Vinod. You see, I appreciate all of your work, especially considering the impact of a research project on a real business and a growth in their business. What is your perspective about the future of research, considering the development in digital transformation, in AI technologies? Do you feel in the future, like, what do you think is the future of research in academia? Like, would the AI replace research or inquiry in terms of solving real life problem with research? Like, how would you connect it, and what would you say is the future of research?
Yeah, so this is a very good question, Kenny. Because of artificial intelligence, the research, like an some of the components become so easy, like an review of literatures, designing and questionnaire. The time has been reduced for review of literature.
Mm,
So if any problems comes in the mind because of introduction of AI, we can very easily reach still what kind of research still happens on that particular topic. So where the 6 months, 1 year, where the time was required to all these things, that time has been reduced. Now only we have to focus on a problem and the solutions. And that's why once we gotten the solution, then you have to transfer this solution to the society. Now, every day new innovations are happening, but it is not transferred to the local businesses. So what I mean to say, I have to say to local businesses, ki, sir, you are delivering the, these kinds of activity and you are spending too much of manpower on this. Rather than if you utilize these AI tools, your efficiency can get increased. So
Mm,
there is a required disseminations of this research amongst the businesses also, specifically a small scale businesses where they have no access of these research papers, and even they are not aware much more about what is happening in the world. So here now the role of university are very important. They should understand what's everyday new innovations are happening, and how these new innovations we can penetrate, we can convert that innovations into products and products to the society.
mm.
So the future is bright. Only the thing is, many businesses has to replace, has to re-innovate, and maybe some products will also get replaced with this. And
Mm.
AI will really help in solve these problems in the highest, very less time and highest rate, I can say.
Thank you very much. Because as students, there are a lot of rigor in terms of. I remember when I was doing my research as an undergraduate student, I can remember the number of months it took me to come up with a literature review to actually present my gap in literature for my research. And in recent years, you can just put on AI tools and you find out all of the research that has been done in a particular area that would have taken you so long to read bit by bit. So what's your concern about research authenticity? Like, what do you think about research in the future? This will be my last question. In terms of coming up with authentic research that really makes impact in the real world.
The authentic research definition is nowadays what is the impact on the society.
Okay.
Only that research will be considered as an authentic research. Adding a big, tools in the research paper, collection of data, and coming with the findings and results. The paper should not complete unless and until it should change, something change happens in the society because of your research.
Hmm.
So
Thank you very much.
implications, benefits to the society, this will be a biggest parameters of measuring the quality of an research. If it will not helps to transform the life of an individual, then that research, I think, I can call is no use of research.
Thank you so
So that way, every researcher has to consider that with the help of research, I have to solve the problem.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vinod. And I think that was brilliant in terms of trying to answer society's problems. And that pretty much brings us to the end of today's session. Huge thank you to both Dr. Toyosi and Dr. Vinod for sharing their expertise. I think the through line throughout both of their conversations was about the importance of research in answering society's problems and the value a university provides in acting as a bridge to exchange knowledge between the students that exist within the university and the industry outside and the society at large. So, if you're in the middle of your research trying to figure out what are the answers that you can provide to society, don't worry too much about anything that is happening around you. Try to be curious, use the 5C framework in terms of curiosity, creation, collaboration, commercialization, and career creation, and understand that you have, while you're at university, have the opportunity to network and pick the brains of so many individuals and in the industry as well. So thank you so much, Dr. Vinod. Thank you to Dr. Toyosi as well. From me, Srihari and Kenneth, thank you so much for joining us. Until our
Thank
next
you.
episode on the 9th of June, we'll see you. Thank you and take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.